line. Hey, the radio, big crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing.
Oh, hold on.
Finger to the sky and a green light shining bright.
Okay, we're live here now, ladies and gentlemen, Richmond Raceway, and if you saw probably a little bit of a rain teaser there for a minute, no, they're not adjusting your television screens. We've been having issues all day with our broadcast, so we had to switch everything out, but we got everything fixed now, so as you can see, we are ready to go here for today's Fast and Fun Champ Power Equipment Cup Series at Richmond Raceway as the drivers get set to go and head onto the field. Practice laps are being put underway, and everyone is getting set for tonight's action. It should be a hard racing day here under the afternoon skies of Richmond, Virginia. Hi, everyone. I am the Crusader, Christian Shire, joining me today by my friend, of course, old Cody McRae. Cody, last time I saw you, you were having troubles figuring out how to get these next gens to work around Bristol. Now you're here watching with me here at Richmond. I got a feeling you're probably ready as I am just to see what happens when you mix in 2 short tracks in a single week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hassle last night, but seeing this tonight here at Richmond, I mean, it's a little bit different, a little bit longer, quarter mile longer. You got 3/4 mile here at Richmond. I'm just ready to see some action-packed racing tonight.
We are certainly ready to see some action. We're just ready to see some hard racing and corner stopping moments and everywhere, which way to Sunday, if you will. But as we get ready for the action today, let's go ahead and take a look first at our track Tech Talk here, presented part by Champion Power Equipment. Here's how the way it plays out. It's a D-shaped configuration track, 3/4 mile in length. This track, really the toughest part of it is going to be its corner exits off turn number 2, and your corner entries entering in from 3 and 1. When you try to hit the turns in, you're going to want to try to stay as low as you can to that yellow line down there in each turn. But what the troublesome part is how you configure around when you get the speed going through that front straightaway into that progressive banked in stretch to the pretty much flatter banked in on the back end. It'll definitely be a bit of a challenge for these drivers to hassle with, as these next gens have been known to really make some guys really kind of question whether or not they have the speed and the control to hang on for all day. So while we get ready for the action, it's time to bring in our drivers lineup here. The first one on the radar is the 56 of John Thacker. And John, As we watch on right now here currently, it seems like the track has definitely been a little bit kinder to you as you're in the top 10 bracket off practice, but when qualifying runs, it's a different story, isn't it?
It is. I usually find a way to mess myself up when that happens. But the track started, I guess it's rubbered in, it's gotten better. And as I've sat here and run these practice laps, I've found myself getting faster. Uh, Knowing who I am and what I do, I will probably find a way to still qualify 20th just because, that's what I do.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, though, the Buc-ee's 56 is back in action, and it's definitely looking like maybe the Beaver can kind of start throwing a little bit of its cleavage and start really taking full control on these boys. I don't know if maybe you really can find that runoff, though, with this kind of track here, because generally when we see you really tame and fight off harder, it seems to be in a mile and a half. What's this 3/4 mile doing for you right now?
I don't know. I mean, I can do it, but yeah, it seems like the mile and a half is my thing. That's what I look forward to. The old cookie cutter tracks. Me, I always try to stomp the gas just a little bit too early and find myself in the infield on the front stretch. Or I hope you're not watching me right now as I slide through this turn. But yeah, I don't know. I've got to learn how to play with the throttle more, be more patient.
For sure there.
This
Well,
car is trying to teach me that.
and you're not listening very well is what it's apparently telling you, so I guess...
It is. That's exactly what it said.
All right.
No, I hope to have fun and put on a good show for y'all, and appreciate the pre-race chat.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll have a post-race chat. You never know. Today could be the
You
day.
never know anymore these days, right?
Correct.
All right. Thanks for your time, Thacker.
All right, man. I'll see y'all later.
I mean, if he gets a pre-race, if he gets a post-race chat, then I will not be surprised. He seems like he's got a pretty good lineup, pretty good little runoff on this track here. So we'll see if he hangs on from start to the finish. But ladies and gentlemen, now joining me in from 3Y Motorsports here, me and Cody McRae. It's that boy in that subbies, number 55 here. It is James Harris, and Harris, new scheme, different look, but same fast-paced action going on that track with you in the car.
It's pace. You ain't looking at the leaderboard. I'm only 13th right now.
That's only practice. We know how you and Jansen usually work.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to qualify too well tonight. We may get surprised, who knows. But I think our race pace is going to be good, and I'm hoping to get a good finish for Keith and Subbies Daily here tonight.
For sure there. Now, maybe you want to explain to the fans and the viewers at home, like, what's going on with that Subbies, because we usually see you piling up another kind of Green Mountain Grill scheme out there. This is a bit of a different look here. What's going on with this?
Yeah, this is a locally owned deli. They've been open for 34 years. It's owned by a family, and they're great, and I eat there at least twice a week. And I asked them if I could run their paint scheme a few times this year, and they were very excited about it. So you'll see it more than once this season for sure.
It's the first time we get to see it here out on the show and on Pizza Race TV. It's a pretty good-looking scheme and a good-looking little ride. So, Harris, we'll see how you handle its paces and controls here with 3My Motorsports.
Poor man, appreciate it. We need the look.
Yeah, absolutely. James Harris, ladies and gentlemen, have a little chit-chat with us. McRae, you know me. I'm a giant fella, right? I'm a generous man.
Yeah.
Who do you want to come in next?
Let's do Boyd Hagen.
Boyd Hagen, the 83. All right. Well, we'll see if he is ready to come talk with us here. Ladies and gentlemen, from Blackstone Management Racing Team, piling it up here today. Here it is Boyd Hagen in the 83 and 96. Hagen, how are you doing today, sir?
Oh, not too bad. And yourself?
Doing all right here. My friend here, McRae, wanted to bring you on in and have a little word with you. So, McRae, I'll let you go ahead and ask a few questions for Boyd.
Hey, man, you've been dominating all season. You got 3 wins this season, and you're currently second in points to Craig Janzik. What's it going to take to get up to the top of the points with this race coming on?
I mean, really just stick to what we've been doing. I think as long as we can just keep winning races, it'll all take care of itself. Not too worried about the point situation. It'd be nice, obviously, to win the regular season title, but obviously we still got a little bit of time for that to happen, and we'll both have some bad luck in between. So I think it's really just we gotta keep doing what we've been doing. That's made us successful, and we'll be alright.
Chris, you got anything?
So Hagen, right now, obviously, we've kind of known you to be more of a hard charger on the mile and a half and those 2 miles, and of course the mile longs. With these shorter tracks here, What's it really kind of like for you to really be having to fight off here on these kind of tracks, knowing that it's going to be a lot closer to have to run off versus having a little bit more of a wide open area to use off of?
I mean, nothing really changes as far as my approach. The short tracks have been my favorite since I was like 7 years old. So short tracks is that's where I'm most comfortable, I'd say. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, there's the odds of being caught up in somebody else's mess is obviously a lot bigger. But at the same time, you can also argue that you can control your own destiny a little bit more as well. Because I mean, it's not going to be such a draft fest. If you're fast, you're fast. If you're slow, you're slow. It's going to be it's going to show.
Absolutely. Well, Hagen, we really appreciate your time here, sir. Best of luck here as you run it down for Blackstone Management Racing Team.
Thanks, man. Yes, sir. Good luck.
Hey, Six Boyd Hagen, ladies and gentlemen, taking time to talk with us here is McRae. I'll give you another pick. Who do you want?
Let's do Kyle Myers in the 18.
Kyle Myers in the 18. All right, we'll bring him in then. Let's have a little word in here as he pilots up the scheme. Usually we see James Harrison, but this time the 18 is going to have to show it some love. It's the Green Mountain Grills 18 Chevrolet Toyota Camry now on the show here. And Myers, how are you doing here today at Richmond, sir?
Very good. How about you?
Well, we're doing pretty good up here in the booth here. We just want to kind of bring you in, have a little word or two. So I'll let my co-host and colleague here, McRae, have a little word with you for just a second.
Kyle, we see you're fourth and fastest in practice right now. I mean, we still got 130 laps tonight. I mean, what do you see change-wise you need to make to get up there to the top?
Probably just keeping up with, I guess, the track and just trying to stay clean. Probably be the biggest thing.
Yeah, with this short track, it's going to be kind of tough. I mean, everybody pushing the limits to getting into them corners and stuff. It's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, especially if going to lap people. You know, you just gotta be careful around everybody. Be there at the end.
So,
Yes, sir. Chris, you got anything?
So last night here, Myers, we watched as these truck drivers here had to pretty much have a little bit of a workaround with that 550 horsepower package. You guys obviously are running the 670 with a little bit more oomph in the back end here. How hard is it to keep these rear ends and these cars more on straight on line without spinning them out here off those exits?
You definitely gotta have an egg underneath the throttle, that's for sure. And then you're gonna want to keep the rears on it.
Sure there. All right. Well, Myers, we do appreciate your time here, sir. Best of luck for you and your BSM racing team.
Thank you, sir.
The 18, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Myers here having a little word with us right now. As I'll take it down now, and I'm going to go ahead and pick one here out of the bunch here, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the number 90 here, Richard Fortell, back onto the call here. Fortell, last night when we talked to you, you said point blank, I really need all the luck I can get in trucks because the Cup Series isn't doing me too well. Well, I'm not sure about you, but, I mean, top 10 right now in the practice, I would say you're doing okay for the most part, but how is the track holding up for you?
Sorry, I just got a little bit destroyed. It's going all right. I'm definitely having to unlearn a little bit of what I learned last night in trucks because these are so different. But I don't know. I feel like I've got some speed, so hopefully we'll see what we got.
McRae?
Like you said, it's a little bit different with the trucks than next gens now. I mean, what do you have to change between the trucks and the cars?
So a lot of it, really, especially here, it's all about the braking points. They're very different between the truck and these next gen cars, and it's also these cars are a lot more likely to try to slip out from under you if you get it wrong. So you really got to watch your braking point and make sure, if anything, back it up a little bit and give yourself some extra space.
For sure there.
For sure.
Well, nevertheless, though, Fortell, there's a lot at stake and a lot on the mind, but as usual, you're always keeping a cooler head and let it try to prevail here on Pete Toys TV. Best of luck, sir.
Thanks, man. Take care.
You too. Richard Fortell in the 90, ladies and gentlemen. McRae, what do you want next?
Let's go do Craig James. I mean, he's the fastest practice leader right now, so
From Oval
give him
Super.
a top.
from Oval Sim Performance here, the man of the hour, the man of the power. He is always known to be that guy. It is the 40, Greg Janzik. Janzik, how are you, sir?
Hey man, well, how's practice looking for you?
I don't know, you asked my colleague here.
I don't know, Cody. What are we looking at?
I mean, you're the fastest time in practice right now. I've been keeping my eye on you and stuff. I mean, you are fast. I mean, are you going to be able to transfer that over to the race and hopefully lead some of the race, or how you going to keep that car in front tonight?
Yeah, that's the hope. I think track position is going to be everything. Everything, of course, aside from dodging the calamity that I'm sure is right around the corner. We have a really good Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving cameo. I'm so honored to be able to represent their brand and get their message out there, because it's really important. I mean, people just shouldn't be drinking and driving, and you know, if I can just have one person think twice about that, that would be really, I'd consider that one of the biggest successes of my life. So yeah, we're gonna go for the win here. We're gonna go for the pole, of course. I think we've got a really good shot at both. Richmond is one of my better statistical tracks. I really seem to have a good handle on this car so far in testing, and I really hope that everything comes together, because us using this win and you're in format now makes it just that much more important.
For sure there, Chris. You got anything?
With it being a win and you're in kind of format here, obviously we've seen you and Boyd Hagen, as well as the rest of those BSN racing teams guys, just completely throw everyone to the wire and through then some. But obviously this is the hardest it's ever been to try to win a championship, much less win in a race in general. I mean, how much strategy is going to go into Richmond here compared to maybe some of the other tracks? Because this is, after all, a short track, and short tracks generally are based wind-off strategies and a little luck.
Yeah, I mean, check out the cup race on Sunday. We had Hamlin and Harvick pulled one over on the field, and Harvick almost got the win. Hamlin did. We're going to wreck the motor vehicle. We might save it. Now we saved it. Yeah, so strategy, I think, is going to be bigger than most people are thinking about. And us here at OSP, we're already thinking, we're thinking about that. We have been for a few days. So I think we're ready for a lot of curveballs. Of course, there's always that one that you just can't hit. But I'm sure we'll come across that one tonight. But yeah, it's I'm looking for a good race and a lot of intensity in all around the field, really.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Jantic, we really do appreciate you coming on board here. Thank you for your time, and best of luck to your Oval Sim Performance crew.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. The 40, ladies and gentlemen, Craig Jantic here, looking to try and fight and scratch and claw his way from the top to the bottom. And another guy maybe that would like to get that done was a former champion in his own right, ladies and gentlemen, the 9 of Eli Childs. As Eli, you know, right now we usually talk to you about how the race going, how things have been, but this is kind of a different little question I got for you, because tonight we're seeing that mad scheme run coming around here on a lot of cars and a lot of the vehicles. Obviously, I know that means a lot to you, and of course, Jess, for everything that's going on. What's it mean to really know that the family is kind of stuck together as much you're trying to beat this family out on the track?
Oh, I love it. It's Craig stepped up this week and started running one. You know, we got Brad on Monday nights. It just means a lot to me and Jess and, you know, the whole family to see more and more of them out there each week. And, you know, even if we could touch one person, it's better than none.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of touching one person or two, obviously this is a short track here. I'll ask you this: what do you think about really drivers having to try to hit up a certain line, certain spots here, and that old bumper run maybe having to come into play? Because we did see that late last night there with the Truck Series. Do you think these Cup cars are going to get some of that too?
No. I don't see a bump and run happening. I could be wrong, but we're comparing apples to oranges. These things are an absolute handful. This is my best racetrack. Got a few wins here, and I can't drive this car around here to save my life.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you still got a favorite racetrack in mind, this being one of them, maybe over time it all kind of plays together and comes together for you. So, Eli, best of luck out here, bud, and we'll see what happens.
All right, I want to throw a shout out to Ella. It's her 6th birthday tonight.
Oh, well, happy birthday to Miss Ella, and we'll be sure to kind of mention that around whenever we're having you around here, my friend.
Appreciate it, bud.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the 9 of Eli Childs having one last little chat with us. Okay, McRae, I'll give you one last little fight off here. Choose somebody from Olsen Performance before we get ready to go live here.
Let's see. Let's see. Olsen Performance.
You got Wilcox, Jantic, Lawrence, or Fless. I'm just gonna make that easy enough.
Let's do Wilcox.
Wilcox, all right. So Christian Wilcox, ladies and gentlemen, here last night, putting up a tremendous performance down there for him and his crew. Didn't quite come away with the W there in the Truck Series, but as he comes into the Cup Series, he's looking to try and maybe bring the Allegiant 53 into victory lane. Wilcox, welcome back to the show here, sir. And after what happened last night here in the Trucks division, it was definitely a long, hard road and a long, hard fight with a few of those being led up. But now you have to try to completely reverse the strategy from Trucks to the Cup. What is really kind of going through your mind on that end?
This is a black and white kind of scenario. The trucks and the next gens drive completely different. So I have to force myself to forget how I drove last night and relearn how to drive these cars. It's a challenge. They're a lot more sensitive, a lot more twitchy, and a lot more power happy, especially under heavy throttle.
Heavy throttle indeed, and a lot of that having to do with that 670 horsepower package under the hood, of course. But I'll ask you this too. I mean, we saw with those Truck Series last night, they're more kind of front heavy on the nose. These are more rear end heavy. So as you mentioned, they're too much more power, more speed. But tire wise, how does that manage and capacitate versus what you would have felt with the Truck Series?
They feel a lot more slick after 15 to 20 laps. So you really have to have an egg underneath their throttle. It's going to be interesting. They also get super tight on a long run too, so we'll see what happens.
Interesting to hear, an interesting dynamic. Nevertheless, Wilcox, thank you for your time. Best of luck to you and the team.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And you can hear he's pretty much getting ready to go down there. So let's go ahead and let the drivers get squared away. It is time for your qualifying session, McRae. This is going to be interesting here to see because we had some pretty tough times and fast pace out there, but there's a lot of guys that were obviously noted and named in this one trying to make the best of a situation. I think this could be a very interesting little go around for these guys.
Yeah, like someone said, track position means a lot here. And I mean, you sat there for an hour in practice, and it might take the whole practice to get the fastest lap, but we're going to see it down here in 2 laps to see who's the fastest and see if they can transfer that over to the race and hopefully stay in position, if not win it.
We'll kind of flip around between cars and drivers here as they continue their run off on the edges here. Brian Lorenzo, James Harris, George Young, Kyle Myers, Christopher M. Hill, Ryan Lorenzo, Richard Fornshell are all putting their laps down on the track right now. James Harris puts up his lap in the 55, fastest qualifier so far. William Mann Jr. on the 2nd slot. And with Fornshell taking that one over. Sheldon Pearson going into the 3rd round, so it looks like he will have the 3rd fastest qualifying time so far, as we'll keep an eye on him for a minute. And the 18 Kyle Myers now sealing that one. Lorenzo going into the 2nd slot. That's kind of the whole thing about this whole ordeal, is having to see this time zone and gap just change completely on a dime without even really any idea when it was going to go from there. Sheldon Pearson, though, pretty strong run there. Actually got a top 10 little finish around, got top 6. Jantic surprisingly going 2nd. Well, I guess I can't say unsurprisingly. He goes 2nd here. And actually, what did surprise me here, look at the times here, Cody. That's literally by a 10,000 of a second difference between him and Christopher M. Hill that separated those two out to the finish. Jantic, though, threw a haymaker on the front straightaway. It did not quite stick. Christopher M. Hill got him just by a mere, I think, 0.003 of a second. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, maybe we might see a repeat tonight with them two. I mean, it was a good race 2 weeks ago, so hopefully we can get to see that again tonight.
We certainly hope so indeed here, but you can see the time zones and gaps here. Myers only 0.02 of a second off of Jantic and Hill as well. Well, actually off of Hill, I should say. Lorenzo only about 0.08 of a second off. 0.18 for Lawrence. Wilcox, 0.18. There's a lot of these guys just tying their times right now as we watch the 69 Stephen Fless put his lap down. 14th fastest out of the bunch. So Not a horrible start, but I don't really know if I really would consider that a very good start. I really would think that's kind of a rough edge, and as Kevin Kershaw will go one spot below him into the 15th round.
I mean, you got to look at it too. Your top 10 within 0.329 tenths of a second. I mean, it's going to be a close race, I think.
Close race, close battling, close proximity on the strategies. And last night, like we mentioned and we keep saying, it all was really boiled down to fuel and tires. That was kind of what was going to win you that race. And a lot of guys tried to last it out for the longest of time, but that green-white checker ended up kind of derailing all the momentum and derailing some of them out there.
Yeah, with the pitch, with looking at the pit strategy too, they're only got a 3-tire set limit at this race and 1 fast repair, so they're going to have to be careful tonight.
And was it any surprise here that Boyd Hagen decided to ruin our little fun here with the 2 fastest guys and completely just beat them out by a full 10th here? Hagen is your fastest qualifier in the 96 today. Well, there's only 2 drivers left. Eli Childs, Matthew Johnson left to perform, or actually, excuse me, Steve Clegg, Kevin Ward, Jason Taylor, they all have a chance to try to perform out a final runoff here. Johnson, though, is the one out on the track right now, trying to set the pace in the lap. .14th fastest time there for the Allagash number 4. Not a bad little runoff here. But as you can see, he came off turn number 1 and 2. They're a little too wide, in my opinion, for the gap zone here, McRae. It's definitely going to cost him time, and he'll have to just kind of work off with the 14. He's already going to call it quits on it.
Yeah, I mean, we got 130 laps. I mean, yeah, it's a short track, but that's still a lot of time to come from the back. I mean, we seen when we was at Atlanta, I mean, people starting way in the back and finishing in the top 5, so you never know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now your fastest qualifier here is going to go so far, unless somebody wants to try to derail him, which I'm not really sure you can do it, but your fastest qualifier today will be Boyd Hagen in the 96 machine. So with that start and that mindset and run in mind, that now brings to the table here of who is going to be the one that tops the best and the brightest as we now look at our grading order for today's action here under the sky and the sun cloud field area of Richmond, Virginia's Richmond Raceway. Let's start it on the pole. Your number 1 qualifier, we just talked about him, Boyd Hagen. The 96 will start it. Is outside Christopher M. Hill in the 99.
Row 2, you got Craig Janzik in the 40, and to his outside, Kyle Myers in the 18.
In row number 3, we're going to see Brian Lorenzo in the 77 is outside the 34, Robert Lawrence.
Row 4, you got Christian Wilcox in the 53, and to his outside, you got Kyle Holden in the 5.
In row 5, we see Sheldon Pearson in the 8 to his outside. It is James Harris, the 55.
Starting row 6, you got Richard Fornshell in the 90, and Brad Thacker to his outside in the 56.
In row 7, George Young will be in the always piloted it up number 48 machine. To his outside, though, is Matthew Johnson in the 4.
Starting 15th, you got Willie Mann Jr., and to his outside, you got Stephen Pless in the 69.
In row number 9, Kevin Kershaw will pilot up the 91. To his outside, Tyler Meeks, the 35.
Row number 10, you got Daniel Starner in the 14th, and to his outside, you got Eli Childs in the 9.
In row number 11, then Jason Taylor and Steve Clegg will pilot that row. Final starters out of it all, Kevin Ward and Caleb Forsythe. Some heavy hitters in here, McRae.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of action-packed racing, like I've been saying. I mean, it's short track, 0.75, 3/4 of a mile, 130 laps. I'm ready to get it going.
Jess Rockerberg saying, coming on board, saying thanks for running mad tonight, Craig and Eli. Hashtag saving lives. Yes, indeed, Jess. They're running, a lot of guys running that scheme out there for you, as well as these crews, and I guarantee you'll see more of them as we go along. But nevertheless, race fans, the time has come. This is the place. This is the track. We're going to see some hard short track action battles coming their way. It will see every single one of these guys from Team BSM to Team Ovalson Performance to 3Y Motorsports, Team Dump and Run, and even MPR looking to try and break the thresholds and take down the best and the brightest in the field of drivers we have on display. You know, 130 laps, though, I mean, this is going to be a real testament, in my opinion, to what this next gen can bring to the table. We saw what it does in IRL, and to be honest with you, I'm not really thinking it's all that good with this track here. I think Richmond Raceway kind of has its ups and downs, but unfortunately, mainly it's just, I don't think it's really conducive to really, really good racing all the time. But at least for anything that involves NASCAR, I think you could probably get some really good short track cars in here for some fun times. But at the end of the day, though, McRae, I mean, this could be a very interesting little giddy up. This could be an interesting little spot. We saw earlier that the temperatures are holding up. The sky is pretty bright, and the sun is shining down on the track. So that will make things a little slicker already more than it usually is here in Richmond.
Yeah, talking about slick, we heard a lot of drivers talking about throttle control, and that is going to be the key thing tonight because, I mean, when these cars slip, it's hard to keep them under control. I mean, it's easy to spin out in the turns and stuff like that, so we shall see tonight.
We shall indeed, and they better not slip too much or they'll crack that egg as they've been notifying and noting up today. Off the corners of turn number 3, down into turn number 4. It is time to bring the drivers to life, the stars and the cars. Keep the next gens at play and put them at bay. Here we go. It's Green Flag Racing here at Richmond Raceway. Calm before the storm, or at least until that storm decides to rear its ugly head here. Oh, and that might have already started here right off of turn number 1 here. We got a little quick cross, applesauce, 3 wide slew mixed in between. Thornshell sneaking right by in the middle, shoots the gap on quite a few boys there. A little bit of a 4-wide tandem back there into turn number 3. These guys were getting pretty crazy a little bit into the headers and into the situations there. McRae, you said earlier they were going to be pretty close, pretty tight ton. Well, they were definitely tight on the first end, but this is just the beginning of this hard, long race.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I mean, like you said, it's going to be hard. I mean, we're having little slip-ups here and now, but hopefully they'll calm down a little bit. We still got some racing to go, so.
And as you said, there's problems down there. Craig Janzik comes to a dead stop in turn number 1 and 2 here. Problems for the 40 and this early in the race. Leads me to believe either he had a little help or he did something here that I would not have expected him to do. But let's take a look at the replay and find out. Presented in part by Champion Power Equipment. Yeah, believe it or not, this was all on Janzik. That's not a mistake you usually see him make. He overshot the corner off turn number 1 there, ended up bringing it too high, went really hard and low. Again, he's trying to keep speed with those Team BSM guys. And that was just unfortunately a kind of an underwhelming mistake there, but at the same time, these next gens have been known to kind of get these guys kind of thwarted around here.
Yeah, luckily he didn't take on damage right then. I mean, he kept it calm, cool, and collective when he spun out, so luckily he didn't have to use the fast repair this early in the race.
It may not be yet, but we'll see eventually what happens when the guys get a little too close for their own good or too close for their comfort. When we come back, more action to come from Richmond. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you in part by our good friends over at Champion Power Equipment. You guys need the best power generators on the market and the tools, the job, the hand, well then Champion Power Equipment is the right branch to go to. Be sure to check them out on their website at www.championpowerequipment.com. Check them out on their social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, to see when you can get the next best line of products from them as well as what they offer to the table. Thank you again to Champion Power Equipment for their support. Well, it's only lap 7, but already you're seeing just how slick it is out on that track if a guy like Janzik has already spun out.
Yeah, I mean, one of the top guys spinning out by himself, I mean, that tells you something right there, that this is going to be a hard racetrack right here.
It's a hard racetrack, but also this car is really, in my opinion, a true equalizer. And those that are usually slower actually have a bit more of an advantage actually, because that's kind of what this car likes to do. It likes to force drivers to slow down, take their time, actually understand what they're doing. But those that know how to muscle a car and can actually work around it, they're the ones, in my opinion, that strive and conquer to be the best. And I think one thing that was really made apparent was a comment from Kyle Larson, I believe, when he said this car sometimes just feels more like a dirt track car. He's not wrong, because when I drove it, I actually kind of felt the same way. It's like I'm driving a dirt car on asphalt and trying to find a way to hold this thing on line, trying to hold it from spinning out on me. That's kind of how it is in dirt. You're trying to find the best way to slide through the corners and through the turns. You're doing the same thing with this. The only downside is you don't want to drift or spin it out.
No, you sure don't want to drift or spin it out, because I mean, it's hard to get the cars back straight without either letting off or or just spinning out, and then you lost time with the other drivers. So
Lost time with the other drivers, lost time out on the track in the playing field zone. Back to the green flag we go. We are back underway. The 77 Brian Lorenzo now kind of moving the headers in here a little bit. The K Nug 77 Chevrolet Camaro looking to maybe make a move off here with that number 90 of Richard Fornshell up the top side with the subbies 55 here at James Harris right in front of them, teammates in their own right for 3 Wide Motorsports. But we know, but as I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, when you're out racing, forget about teammates and forget about trying to be friends with anybody. The only person that should matter is yourself and your family and friends you're trying to get behind when this tracks. Right now, a pretty good battle here between the guys in the mid-pack range here. Wilcox, Holden, and Pearson all at each other's game plans here, all fighting pretty hard on the throttle. Remember, Kyle Holden also, he was absolutely picture perfect when it came to his hard racing and his hard mentality that he brought on the track here not too long ago. And really, in my opinion, I think kind of showed what his plan is for this season.
yeah, well, Kyle's one of the tougher drivers. I mean, he started in 8th. He's staying in pace, which I mean, it's only lap 12 and we got a caution right now. So
Caution back out here for the number 8, Sheldon Pearson. Unfortunately, the Elite Performance Motorsports Industries crew having some problems down there. We'll see what happened here. Looks like maybe just a little bit of a hard charge off the dash ends of turn 1 and 2. Looks like he did have a little company down there with him and Willie Mann Jr., but I don't think that was what blocked him from trying to slow off a little bit. It looked like he just overshot the turn. And yet again, we've always talked about that snapback that those next gens have. That was one of them.
yeah, it looked like the same thing that happened to Craig. It's just a tough break for Pearson for hitting the wall. But I mean, these guys are going to have to slow down a little bit coming in the turns and using that throttle control and try to keep a clean race.
Keep a clean race, keep a clean head as we now bring in William Mann Jr. onto the line here. And William definitely had kind of what I just mentioned a minute ago here when you were going down low, Sheldon Pearson. But nevertheless here, obviously having to hit that marker is going to be a lot easier said than done. With you and Pearson though, I mean, what really could you see that kind of got things a little bit more squirrely, a little bit looser when you kind of run off on that end?
It looked like he got squirrely coming on the front stretch, and I dropped low thinking he was going to slow up a lot. And entering the corner, I know it said I was clear on my spotter, but I was trying to keep it to the apron as much as possible. It looked like he was still trying to make the corner, and he got a little loose. When you overcorrected, it just snapped right. I didn't even touch the guy. I don't think I was close enough.
No, you weren't anywhere near him.
Yeah. So hopefully we get running and get some long laps in, and I'm not the biggest fan of the track, but I know I can do some damage on some short tracks, so I'm looking forward to this.
You've been usually known for doing the fuel and the tire run, but again with these next gens, I have a feeling that these cars kind of change their strategies up a little bit, make things a little more difficult, don't they?
Yeah, well, we only got 2 sets of fresh Goodyears to put on this sucker, so hopefully get a long run in, and I don't know, see what the guys are going to do with their pit strategy. Some guys think they need to pit early for extra grip, but I don't know. My experience, if you back it down a little bit, you can make a lot of good happen. I've gone almost 80 laps on one set before and didn't lose too much time. But it also depends on the guys around you, I feel like. So we're going to see what everybody does and what we can do to them.
For sure there. Well, Mama Man was watching you on, so we'll get you back on in, and Papa Man, you know, is with you too, so best of luck here.
Appreciate you, sir.
Wayman Jr., ladies and gentlemen, number 29, trying to get things squared up and back into the rhythm of things. Field is set in motion to go back to the green. Well, McRae, right now, if I'm Boyd Hogan, my first thought is like, okay, there's been a few cautions, more than I probably want to see out of the gate, but I kind of have to expect this, don't I?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's surprising too he's taking that high line when knowing the bottom line is where to be at tonight.
Well, I mean, I'll give him this here, and really I think that strategy is based off of what he knows when it comes to taking the hold shot line as they go back to the green flag. Also, remember Christopher M. Hill and him are teammates, so it could be, you know, a little communication between each other to kind of separate out the runs and separate out the lines to force drivers to have to kind of stay away from trying to take him over too quickly. And as we go on board here with Kyle Holden, I believe it was back at Atlanta Motor Speedway where literally it went down to the wire, it went down to the fighting ends here with Boyd Hogan. I think it was literally separated out by a half a tire length to the line between him and that by Hogan. Hogan's been pretty strong though when it comes to his race runs and his race finishes. He's won, as you mentioned to him earlier, he's won the last two that did not involve it with Casey Tucker. Excuse me, it was actually Casey Tucker and D5 here Holden that went to the line together. I kind of keep forgetting because I believe it was Tucker that kind of stole the car that usually K.O. Gaylor Boyd Hogan drives out there.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was, because I had to actually go back and look to see who actually won it, because it was messing me up.
Well, I'm glad we got that figured out, but nevertheless here right now the drivers are having a bit of a different story when it comes to figuring things out, and I think unfortunately our broadcaster curse may have now plagued the 29. Willie Mann Jr. gets tagged and spun, and the dump and run has been used. You know, sometimes I swear we just cannot win when we try to bring drivers in and talk with them.
Yeah, it was just a spin out by itself again.
Let's take a look at the replay here. Let's see what happened to the 29. And you can see even too, he said earlier, I mean, once that car snaps back on you, it snaps. Well, it definitely snapped on the floor. And actually a pretty good move there by everybody involved, avoiding him. There was a slight little kick there, I believe, from the 22 Steve Clegg there in the other Green Mountain Girls machine. I don't know if that really suffered any damage there, if he really kind of got clipped off there or not, but it looks like the 22 is okay. I'll go ahead and bring him in on the line right now. Give you a little thoughts here from the 22 as he kind of tries to work his way through the field. Clegg, you got a copy down there?
I got you.
Well, right now here, avoiding some problems and some trouble there with the 29 coming off turn number 2, but now you got a lot going through your mind, really a lot on your plate here to have to move from the back to the outhouse to get to the White House. I mean, how difficult right now is it just to try to steer this thing away from getting out of control?
I'm almost treating this like a super speedway where I'm kind of hanging in the back and letting everybody else make their mistakes. So, just buying my time, really.
That is certainly the case here, but nevertheless, let me ask you this as well. Tires-wise, how have they been feeling so far? Because we've heard earlier drivers saying that it's about 15-20 laps before they get slick. What's your thoughts on this one? Because we're already about 20 in, and there's been some hard moves and some drivers spinning them out already.
Yeah, I mean, we've run enough caution laps where it hasn't been too bad, but I know if you get loose and in your tires, they stay hot for a while, and you're in trouble.
Well, right now, it certainly don't seem to be in too much trouble here. Just trying to stay with the flow and keep it even as cool. Best of luck down there, Clegg.
Yeah, try to stay out of trouble.
Steve Clegg, ladies and gentlemen, the 22, having a little chat there with us right now, and yeah, it like we said earlier, with that sun being down on this track and things get a little hotter out here, obviously the tire temperature starts to increase, they start to rise, and it gets a little harder to really hold these things online. You know, there's just so many factors that really go into racing, McRae.
Yeah, I mean, when you start a race, you try to fight to get there down there to the bottom, and like you said, with tires heating up and the track getting hotter, I mean, you try to run that bottom line the whole time, but you can see like later on in like the long run, you can see your car starting to drift up, and you have to come in that exit a different way to stick to that bottom.
You certainly do indeed, and we've kind of mentioned it before, but one of my favorite things to really talk about has always now been kind of learning the differences between tire temperature, weather temperature, and also track temperature. Anytime really you can start to factor in those key elements and start to really figure in like how everything dynamically changes over time, I would have to say it makes for very much more harder racing, but it also makes for tougher racing because that's when you literally got to kind of figure, okay, what's the best overall package deal I can get, while also trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to get wrecked out with these kind of cars, these kind of circumstances. Because even in super late model racing, I can tell you right now, sometimes first lap, all your strategy just goes completely out the window.
Yeah, I could sit there. It was just like that Bristol race last night. I sat there and whole practice didn't spin out not one time, and then get to the race and it's a different ball game. So.
Different ball game indeed. Jennifer Velasquez has come on board. She's rooting on Brian, the number 77. Mama Man, we talked about her earlier. She's going for that 29, saying hi all and play safe all. Well, easier said than done to try to play safe around here, I'll say that much. But nevertheless, as we come off down off turn number 4, back to the green flag, restart zone, Hagen charges them ahead. Yeah, I think the one thing though we're going to see a lot of is kind of what the start here is already representing, which is drivers going from double file to single file, just trying to get under control, get themselves kind of situated in, and then let the track kind of come to them. As the cars start to burn up and get a little bit crazier and more hectic, it starts to really move drivers up on the field and give them a chance to kind of run them off.
Yeah, we've seen Craig Jancic. He started up there up front and had that little mess up and got back to the back. He's up on his way to 15th, I think now 14th. So lap by lap, he's trying to move back up there to the front.
And that right there, you just seen actually it was coming off turn 4 on our onboard camera. You saw that rear end slide out the slice, but he jams the steering wheel straight right, like I would in a dirt car, just trying to hold it down a little bit more. What he's trying to do is he's trying to get the rear end to kick back from the front end. So once the front end kind of gets the track figured out, it can then kind of send that rear end to straighten out. It's almost kind of, the best way I can explain it, it's almost like a slinky. When you kind of throw it out hard enough, it'll stretch out and bend out really easily. But when you go ahead and kind of catch it with your hand as you throw it out, you can retract it in really quickly comparatively to what you would do if you just let it free flow. I know that's not the best kind of analogy I can make, but I really don't know how else to explain it. It's just a very weird kind of sensation on that car.
Yeah, you would just, I mean, for people that ain't drove the next gen car, it's just one of them things you have to get in and drive it to see what we're talking about.
Pretty much. 100 laps left to go here right now. Stephen Pless and that Fox Racing 69 GT Mustang GT dealing with a fellow Mustang GT driver here in the Ford. And that Ford Performance Machine, the 15, Jason Taylor. And Taylor, not a fish out of the water here when it comes to battling up top spots or top positions. Remember back it was at Talladega where he managed to get the biggest win of his career and got the first win ever on P-Trace TV for him in his driving series. And he told us that day, man, he was on cloud 9. He was hoping for more time and more to be had. He was really glad that he was able to get that off the list.
Yeah, with the first race of the season and you get that win, that just pulls confidence up. A little bit loose for Jason Taylor right there coming out of Ford.
Eli Childs earlier on said a little bit of a happy birthday to Ella, and we'll wish her a happy birthday to her as well. But nevertheless, Childs giving her a little birthday present as Taylor got loose coming off of turn number 4. The 9 Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving Ford Mustang takes full aim and control as the rest of the field tries to find their line and trying to find their speeds.
Hey, I think we should crank it up for Ella's birthday.
Well, I guess if we crank it up, then we gotta hit it up. So You guys know the drill. It's time to pour down the throttle, pour on the speeds, crank the volumes up on your end, and let's bring it to the haymaker wire. It's going, cranking it up at Richmond Raceway. It's always a good time and always a little fun to crank this one up a notch or two here on Pete's Race TV, and we got a lot of that and then some here. Laps winding down though, and the field's starting to pace in. It looks like they may be starting to put strategies together and not really worrying too much about trying to do the hard side-by-side racing ordeals anymore. Mama Man saying, Chris, you're great. And Jess Ruggenberg saying, Eli had potatoes for Ella's birthday. Oh, Jesus. I'm not even going there.
I don't even want to ask.
You best not ask. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Maybe after the broadcast I'll explain it then, or maybe Jess can message you. I'm not explaining this though to you. Not on air right now. Bad enough YouTube demonetizes us when we play our intro, which again, YouTube, we have permission from Miss Haley Taylor. She is a lovely woman for letting us play that awesome song in our intros. But apparently, to them, that's not enough. And Brent Wilcox, that's not enough either to just make up for one position. He wants track position on all drivers as the sun fades away. He makes a pass on Richard Fornshell in the 90. The 53 of Wilcox is now making the leap up to the front.
I know we was just talking about him just a little bit ago. Craig Jansen's about to be in the top 5, so he's moving on pretty quick. So I think he's wanting that top 1 and 2 position again.
I mean, it's a bold strategy to kind of do up here with the Mad 40 today. But again, the biggest problem I think I have kind of with this circumstance and ordeal here for Janzik is now he is going to run his tires in so hard, he's going to run that fuel up a little bit. As a driver, you can't give up too much on these guys from the back to the front. Even if you're trying to make a hard run up to the front so quick, you need to kind of have a balance to set everything in. And it definitely can feel a little bit crazier and a little bit harder to really deal with later on, especially with this next-gen Cup car. So if Janzik is doing what he's doing right now at speeds and at control that he's at the level of, he's going to have to know later on that in the back of his mind, if he does not start to really tame and hammer down a little bit smoother, he's going to really be hurting later.
Boyd Hagen with that 2.5 lead, he's staying about right there. He ain't really gaining much and he ain't really losing, so maybe he's on cruise control right now, saving his tires and fuel.
It could very well be right now. Kyle Holden back in the 5 here. He is now up to the 55 of James Harris. The battle for 7th here, if you will. Kind of a little an R&R little fight here. But nearly about a 2-second lead on from Kyle Myers from Boyd Hagen right now. I mean, that is ridiculous to be say the least. This cat, man, I swear, I think I said my piece about you and Robert Kahn there last night when it came to racing with those next gens at Bristol, but when it comes to like Hagen and Myers, I don't know. I don't want to say Hagen kind of hogs the show, but it seems like he almost hogs the front more often than not. And even with the lap times here, you can see Myers was gaining some ground on him, but didn't quite get very much on him that last lap.
Yeah, with Con last night, it was just unreal of what he did at Bristol. I mean, we was staying with him at practice, and it was like he went and got a new car and had more horsepower or something. He just blew us out the water. So.
He sounds like Kyle Busch out there and said he just got it from Walmart.
Yeah. And added that 5 horsepower sticker to the back windshield. So.
I mean, I guess whatever works out for him there. That's how I usually say it.
It's rare that you go to Bristol and you don't have a caution, and then the leader puts the whole field a lap or two down.
Yeah, it can be a bit troublesome. It can be a little psychosomatic, that is for certain. And yeah, Colin last night, like we said, he put on a heck of a run and put on a show. But I mean, the thing is, that was like one guy. We got like 8 or 10 of them just in this league alone that do this on a timely and constant basis. And with speeds that they're carrying upwards right now, these guys are hitting 23s, 22s sometimes, depending on how hard they want to run it. Top speeds at 140 miles per hour. And again, that's on a 3/4 mile track. That's not a lot. That may seem like a much to some people out there because they're so used to the overall speed and power that usually goes around here from those next gens on the mile and a half. But that's still pretty hard racing. Still pretty hard speeds to have to control and really work with here. On this kind of a short end track, as you saw Kershaw and Clay go right at it there in turn 3 and 4. Well, I mean, if you're Steve Clay right now, you're probably thinking you might want to stay away from Kershaw for a minute, shouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at right now. He's got a little bit of damage on the driver door, so.
Well, I mean, when you were having to race down there last night, I mean, when you had damage on your driver's side door, how bad did that kind of affect you and your end? Because that had to have given you some problems down there, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, with that, I mean, any damage at all, I mean, any way you look at it, it's going to slow you down, which I had front end damage too. And I was really wanting to go into the pits, which I was a couple of laps down already anyway, hoping for a caution. But, I mean, just the slightest damage, it will slow you down because I was like 2 or 3 tenths off Con in the beginning, and then when I got the damage, it was like a half a second, between a half a second and a second slower than regular pace with no damage.
For sure there right now, looking through the back here, some guys coming from the outhouse of the lap down marker here, going from pit road. Obviously, Caleb Forsythe in 76 trying to hang in there. Christian Wilcox here moved up into 10th, but he did start 7th. Kind of got shuffled back in earlier on here, and James Harris going 3 spots up, started 10th. He's going 7th as well now, so I guess you can say he flip-flopped a little bit with Wilcox down there. No, it's kind of funny though. I mean, I did talk about earlier about kind of how the IRL racing of the next gens here at Richmond kind of were versus how we thought they may be today. And, you know, so far, I'm kind of seeing the same ordeal. It's really the same kind of workaround, which is tire strategy. It's really the biggest thing. And a lot of these guys are kind of watching right now. I'm not hearing fuel runs, and I'm not hearing these guys kind of clutch in at certain points. It seems like more or less they're just trying not to shoot up too high or shoot down too low, and then trying to see which one's going to go first. I think that's kind of the smart strategy basis they're going with here.
Yeah, about every next gen race I've been in, tire strategy, I mean, which any race, but the next gens in general, I mean, you have to stick with that tire strategy. I mean, it's a game changer when it comes to these cars too.
Stephen Wilkerling saying exactly kind of what we were talking about too, which is these cars are so loose on this track out of the corner. Yeah, that's kind of what a lot of guys were saying earlier. They said point blank, you got to have an egg underneath your foot pedal to make sure you do not go too crazy or go too wild on these things. It's definitely a bit of a difference here compared to driving from a Gen 6, that's for sure.
But like you said too, I mean, with these cars loose on the short tracks coming out of the exits, it's about any track we've seen so far this season. Like the exits off the turns is what's getting them.
It's definitely getting them, and it's getting the better of them sometimes, but those that are able to kind of work around that and kind of master it and the forte of it seem to be dialing up better and better as they go. I think it's just really only a matter of time before we really start seeing some game changes, some heavy hitters kind of putting it out on the track. Christopher M. Hill has to go into pit road, so while he enters into pit road getting things figured out, Kyle Myers, he's currently in second. Boyd Hagen leads by a second and eighth, but can he go the full distance and win this race? Find out with us when we return. Today's race here at Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia has been brought to you in part by our good friends over at Champion Power Equipment. You guys need the best power generators and power sources around. There has only been one power generator tool company we've known for all this time, and that is Champion Power Equipment. Be sure to check them out on their local website at www.championpowerequipment.com. Head over to their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles. Give them a little love, give them a like, give them a follow, and be sure to check out all their latest product lines and information to get out for your next outings. Well, considering I kind of hear you shuffling around in the background there, Mr. McRae, I'm presuming you got something kind of going on down there.
Yeah, this headset's giving me a little bit of trouble, but I think I got it figured out right now.
Well, you say that now. I'm hoping that it's not going to end up lasting me the whole time, though.
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Alright, we're about halfway point in, so good time for that headset to get fixed up, but bad time here if you're the 112 of Kevin Ward, because now halfway in at Blue Springs and you see a man by the name of that 96 and Boyd Hagen coming through, it's probably best to get out of the way and just kind of forget your run, because right now this one is not looking too good.
Yeah, when you see the leaders, the best thing to do is just go high and just let them on by. Don't try to fight it out, because I mean it could cause problems too. So
it causes a lot of problems. It can cause a bit of headaches here or there, and you know, we've talked about it again. Short track racing, there's usually two primary factors that make it so good. The first one is that even if you get off to a huge lead, a huge start, that doesn't mean you have secured this race lead or that race win. You run into lap traffic, everyone's equal again, and so if you're getting the wrong way of somebody, they can end up costing you a race.
yeah, lap car, like you said, it really slows you down. And when you're sitting there, I mean, some people might not let him by. I mean, you sit there and have to fight trying to not get lapped down and hoping for a caution so you can stay on the lead lap. But I mean, when you sit there and fight, you're burning up tires too, and that allows the second, third, and so on forward back to catch back up to you.
You know, there was one guy I always said that kind of really resembles that marker and really is kind of that statement to be had here when it comes to that aggressive handling, no matter what position he's in. One of them by the name of, you might know him, it was Ryan Newman. He was always one of those guys, like I watched him go out there and I watched him perform, and there'd be times like I just watched him racing in maybe like 28th or whatever, and he would not run you out. He would run you off into the sidewalls, into the dirt, and into the gravel if he had to, and he just did not give an inch to you, whether he was running there or if he was running for the lead. He was just one of those guys. He was definitely known as the Rocket, but I say it sometimes also he was kind of the blockhead to trying to get into the race circle, the victory lane.
Yeah, he would give the run for the money for you. He wouldn't let you buy easy.
Definitely would not. It is good to see that he will be kind of joining back in the racing world here with the SRX, I believe. So it'll be good to see what he brings to the table, what he can put on the show here, as he'll have to run with some old rivals there, and Tony Stewart definitely. So it'll be good to see though him back out on the track.
Oh yeah. Craig Janzik's going in the pits right now.
Janzik, Lawrence Hope, veteran in pit road. The Olson Performance guys trying to work together here. Christian Wilcox also. Some of the team dump and run boys like Stephen Pless have gone into pit road here, trying to stay out of trouble. Brian Lorenzo letting on by here the number 99 of Christopher M. Hill as he passed him in that Toyota Camry. The Chevrolet Camaro though of Lorenzo, the only one in the top 5 bracket. It's two Camaros or Camrys, one Camaro, and then a Camry, and then a Ford in your top 5 bracket as pit straps are being put to the test here and really being put to good use. Yeah, McGrady, something I'm kind of
Yeah,
noticing.
we was talking.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just about to say, like, something I'm kind of noticing too with some of these Team BSM guys, other than Hill, is that Myers, Hagen, and all of them, they're trying to, and Kershaw, they're staying out as long as they can. I think they're trying to, you know, reap out the rewards and use the fuel run to then get a fresher set of tires to use up more than the other boys.
Yeah, you try to get out there and use pit strategy, and you try to do that fuel window, which to me, I would wait as long as you could because if you get fresher tires towards the end and a caution comes out, you're going to have better tires than the leaders are. So that helps the advantage moving back up to the front.
Certainly indeed, and definitely going to be a bit of an understatement here when things get a little bit more rounded up, a little bit more wild on the track. I'd say probably more than anything here, for guys like Christian Wilcox, James Harris trying to use their pit strategies and pit stops to full length and full extent. They're trying to really, number one, not only lose too many laps, but at the same time they're also trying to make sure they can keep themselves at a consistent band, consistent control. Boyd Hagen knows though now his pit stop going to definitely mean a lot. He has gone in and he's going to try to make the run for it. I don't know, if I'm the driver though right now, I mean, do I try to go in for 2 tires or do I go for 4? What would your call be?
With the loose as the cars get going into entry and exits, I would try to go all 4.
Well, right now, the only one that did not go all 4, at least judging by my timing sheet here, is the 99 of Christopher M. Hill. And that's just because he went and did a 9-second lap time with only 2 tires. And no, that was not a 4 tire, like he just went in and got in and out like that what Kyle Busch's team did there. This is right now, to me, the toughest point, the absolute battle zone for everyone out there. Is currently now the 14 and the 69 both going through. Stephen Pless and Dan Starner having a little bit of a battle here for the 15th spot. As Plus now makes his move around Johnson. He'll take over the 14th lane here, but again, this is just kind of like what I was talking about, which is if you can last out the longest and you can survive and conquer the best, then that's exactly what you need to do. And that's what the drivers are trying to find.
Yeah, with the only top 6 not being a lap down, and they go for the fuel strategy and the tire run and stuff like that. I mean, Boyd Hagen's going to have his hands full as caution comes out right now, so this is going to be a game changer.
This just changed the game up quite a bit indeed here, my friend. And it looks like William Mann Jr. of all people is going to get clapped in between. This is not looking good for the 29. Thankfully, though, for him, he does have an instant repair he can use up, and believe me when I said he is going to need it. I'll look at the replay.
Luckily, and too, while we're looking at the replay, I mean, he's sitting in 4th right now, and the top 6 is the only ones that lap down. So if he did go into pits right now and get that fast repair, he's still going to be in the top 6th or 7th.
Looking at the replay, it looks like Christopher M. Hill actually might have clipped him coming off into turn number 2 here. One more look at it here. We'll see if the 99 does get a piece of that 29 here. He does. And that's what got Williams so loose there. Again, Hill a little bit on a fresher set of tires than comparatively to the 29. He was trying to make a run for the race lead, but that did not go very well there for William Mann Jr. And I guarantee you he's not going to be a very happy camper there with that M. Hill guy. And
But you got to think too with short tracks and the tempers flare at short tracks, so.
Well, the good news is, like I said, he's got an instant repair. He'll stay in the top 10 as long as he can get tires and fuel kind of wrapped around on his edges here. We'll see what happens here in just a brief fleeting moment as pit stops are being put to the test and being put out on the track here. I think it's about time, though, we go ahead and bring in some more guys here and listen in with them. And one of them I want to kind of bring in real quick is, of course, that number 5 of Kyle Holden. Kyle, right now, good to have you back on the show here, sir, but you've had quite a day here having to kind of run through the field, kind of run through the muck. Now you're just having to get a little bit of luck and trying to hopefully get the Speed Demon setups into the big top 5, isn't it?
Yeah, hope so. I'm hoping we get waved around here around the pace car, but we'll see what happens here with that caution. Because kind of got a little messed up at the beginning there. Kind of got sent into the outside wall, but we saved it. We didn't get any damage from it. So we were just trying to pace around and see what we have. So hopefully we can do something here at the end.
When you were running down in Atlanta and had that tremendous finish and fight to the end there, I mean, did you try to take anything away from there into here for Richmond with the confidence, or really any of the driving?
A little bit of the confidence, maybe not so much the driving. Completely different track, but I do kind of take away a little bit of things from there. But most of it does not translate to short tracks, unfortunately.
You're sure there. Well, nevertheless, Kyle, we do really appreciate you coming on board here, sir. Best of luck as we get you back in with the 3 Wide crew.
Appreciate it.
3 Wide Motorsports, ladies and gentlemen, number 5, Kyle Holden, looking to try and strengthen the run, strengthen the hard speeds ahead. When we come back, we're going to see how pit road strategies get put into full effect and who will be the #1 man out of it all. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Down here in Richmond Raceway, this race has been presented in part by our good friends over at Champion Power Equipment. You guys need the right power generators and power tools for the job. There's only been a branded name that we've trusted in for so long, and that, of course, is Champion Power Equipment. Be sure to check them out on their website at www.championpowerequipment.com, and also head over down to their social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, to show them some love and support as they have done for the Cup Series and us here on Pizza Race TV. Thank you again to Champion Power Equipment for everything this season. McRae, this is literally only our 4th caution of the day, and I am not going to lie, I'm a little dumbfounded on that one, because I really thought some of these guys were going to get a little bit crazier and get a little bit more on the nose and a little bit more hit and run. This has been pretty solid, though. I will admit that right now.
Yeah, with the 11 cautions they had last week, I mean, maybe they sat down and started chatting and trying to make this race a little bit better. Like you said, with 4 cautions, I mean, it's tough at this track with only 4 cautions. So, I mean, we're lap 84, 130. That's right around 50 laps, I think. So, I mean, there's still a lot that can happen.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, time has come, time is set, we're in motion, we're in play as the drivers get squared back away here right now. We're going to go one more lap around and double file them up. Everyone's 16th on back is on the lead lap, but again, Janzik, Hagen, Lorenzo, Hill, and really George Young. I don't mean to be a complete, you know what, George, but one of these things maybe doesn't belong here in this group, I'd say. Again, I could be wrong. I mean, George has been able to impress me every now and then, but I mean, I've always rooted for him trying to get that underdog win already. He has come so close, so many times, come so far in the sport. But again, there's a murderer's row in front of you. I don't know what you can do about that. So if you can win this, though, I'll be the first to admit that's probably one of the greatest wins I think ever on Pizza Race TV.
Yeah, Janzik with that mess up, and they go back to green flag race, and Janzik with that mess up earlier on in the race, he's back here on the front row, so we'll see how he does now.
He's definitely going to have an elite field of guys trying to push and shove his way up to the front, really hold them down. Hagen, though, really now is going to be put to the test as caution flies on out here. Problems down there for Kyle Myers and Stephen Pless here in turn number 2. Ooh. It's only our 5th caution of the day, but Myers, of all things, kind of involved in this one. Not something you usually would see here. Let's take a look at the replay. Bit of a kind of a wild little scenario there, to say the least. You wouldn't quite really see from that angle, but again, I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the ordeal of racing here, but McRae, this is not usually a mistake you usually see Myers make here, especially now with that 69 kind of doing what he did, but yeah, you can see Myers, he really had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Myers, he didn't have nowhere to go. I mean, you're coming off the turn, you don't want to jerk the wheel too much because you'll end up spinning 2 and, I mean, hitting the inside wall and costing you some damage, so luckily he got through it a little bit. I mean, I know he still got some damage, but not as bad as it could have been.
Good news is the car at least is still relatively in shape to go good fit and repair up, and he also has one left over he can use. So I guarantee you he's definitely going to try and use that up a bit. Let's go ahead and take a listen down the team dump and run though, as the 76 Caleb Forsyth now joins us on the call. And Forsyth, we've been seeing you kind of going through this field and kind of muscling a charge. Now back on the lead lap, I got a feeling that you're ready to take full aim of this one, aren't you?
Well, we're just going to see what happens here. Getting low on laps, low on tires. A lot of strategies going to come into play. See how these guys, how aggressive they get. Avoiding wrecks going to be a thing to get you a few spots right here.
It certainly will, and with only about 40 laps remaining here at Richmond, is this really kind of where you feel like guys may get a little too over the top, or do you think maybe that might come with about 10 to go?
No, I think you're going to see some of the guys in front burn tires in about the first 10 laps right here. That's what I'm hoping for. We're going to sit back, take it easy for a few laps, and then try to catch them back.
For sure there. Forsyth, really do appreciate your time here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
76 Cal Forsyth having a little chat with us there. You know, McRae, right now, what guy I've kind of not really alluded to or really talked too much about here, but Robert Lawrence, 34, even though he's got some damage on the right front corner panel, he's been top 10 the entire time. Even with the pit stops and all that, he's been still pretty much right in that line and in that drive side here. I honestly think maybe he might be a bit of a dark horse here, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, like some people saying, they're trying to hold out to see how this race is going to go and stuff like that. So he might be one of the ones holding back. He's in 7th right now. So with a little bit of damage, I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. But we'll see how it goes here in the next 40 laps. 39 to go.
39 to go indeed here. So 5th caution of the day, and again, I'm still kind of even surprised we even had 5 cautions to begin with. I thought, honestly, I think I made the joke earlier. I said I think we might have a few more cautions than we did in the Green Mountain Ghost Truck Series race last night. But no, these Cup drivers, they've impressed us. They've kept their cool, and that definitely deserves a fitting tribute to them. So as they bring him back around, though, we'll get him back center to the green flag. The race ain't over till it's over, so they better get it dialed in quick, because it's still go time. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I gotta give it to them. They've learned. I mean, they improved a lot since the first race of this season with these cars.
They certainly have indeed. And speaking of improving, 3 wide saloon and entering in turn 2. Oh, and maybe a little bit more often than not, getting kind of jumped around a little bit. The 48 George Young up to the high banks and the high skies above, almost goes for a little wall ride down to the end zone, but thankfully he was able to keep it under control. That could have been pretty gnarly, though, to say the least.
Yeah, good save on his part, like we've been talking about all night. It's hard to handle these cars, especially when you're trying to spin out by yourself, but when somebody hits you unexpectedly, I mean, it throws you off even more.
Speaking of throws you off even more right now, I don't think I was going to expect talking about this today, but right now your top three different teams, 3 different styles of racing, Jantic, Hagen, Lorenzo, Olesen Performance, Team BSM, and also really 3 Wide Motorsports. They are coming back here. It looks like Lorenzo is mounting the charge and trying to bring the troops back to the field. Right now, if I'm Lorenzo too, my first thought is I'm just going to watch Jantic and Hagen go at it and hope that Jantic blocks Hagen as much as he can to try to force him to actually make a run on him and make the pass from either outside or having to perform a bumper run, so that way Lorenzo would get the fair shake. Oh, and Jantic not able to save it. He can't save this one. He's going to back off. These guys are going to have to try to avoid it. No, they can't avoid all of it. Harris gets clipped by the 15.
Yeah, it looked like Boyd Hagen gave the little bump to Janzik and got him loose out of the turn.
Well, you remember what Eli Child said earlier today, right? He said
with the bump and run.
He said point blank, yeah, bump and run. I don't think they expect that here. Well, Eli, I mean, you might want to go back and watch this one, my friend, because this might be a different story.
He just gave that little tap.
That's all it takes for this track. Yeah, there's a slight tap. Janthic was already loose though, so do we still count it? I mean, I would, because honestly, it's still a bump, it's still a run.
I'm looking back at the replay. It looked like he touched him, and then he got loose and saved it, and then he got loose again.
I mean, either way, it definitely was a little bit all over the place there, but we'll take a look at the replay as well from Taylor's end here as he was trying to avoid everyone. Yeah, he didn't know where Janthic was. He saw him literally right there, and Harris was thinking he was clear, but forgot there was somebody down low of him. Again, Taylor was trying to avoid the big wreck to save his own car, but he knew as soon as Harris was up there, this was going to get a bit wild there.
Boyd Hagen going to the bits. That's a little mind-blowing.
He is going to the pits here. I don't know if he's getting told he's going to get a black flag or an EOL for that, or what's going on down there, but that is shocker.
He might got an EOL for that because they didn't hold him in the pits or anything, so they might put him at the tail end of the long line. So
we'll have to find out here a little later on, but right now let's go ahead and bring in real quick a guy we haven't talked really much about in the Elite Performance Motorsports Industry crew in the 34, Robert Lawrence here. Robert, if you got the copy down there, sir, right now, things have been a solid top 10 day, but I mean, with now the last 30 laps coming in your playing field and your field of mind, I have a feeling that that's kind of gave you a little bit of that irking feeling, kind of scary feeling, knowing you're gonna have to really try to hammer down with some of these boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that little bit of extra that I've been saving and start putting it to use and start playing in the dangerous area. So I'm gonna be a little more sideways than I have been, and hopefully not too sideways that I go sideways. I spin out. So we're gonna have to give her and see what happens, because we got some fast guys right in front of me. Got Man right in front of me. He's always fun to race with, so I gotta see what I can do here.
See what you can do, indeed. I know, obviously, you're not trying to enter into the twilight zone, but it still seems like you are in that hammered down zone. What's it like, really, kind of get this thing filled in for one last big push and run?
Oh, it's definitely don't overcook the tires. Keep them warm, but don't overcook them. Really, just gotta, you gotta get everything wrapped around, rolled through, and get the runs off. She's gonna get spicy here. So that's about 30 laps left. It's gonna be, everyone's gonna be taking not a whole lot to give.
For sure there. Lawrence, thanks for your time here, sir.
Yep, thank you.
The 34, Robert Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen, looking to possibly stand clear and steer this one into that danger zone, if you will. But as we see now, Brian Lorenzo, Christopher M. Hill, they'll be the two front runners. And remember what I said earlier about Lorenzo and trying to hope that Janthic and Hagen made a mistake? Well, I think Lorenzo got his wish.
yeah, with Boyd Hagen sent back all the way to 13th. I mean, they're still, 29, 28 to go as they go back green flag racing. He's in 13th, so maybe he can drive his way back on up to the front.
And speaking of driving his way back up to the front, a surprise in this field, the 29 William Mann Jr. literally using pit stops and using pit road to his advantage here, strikes hard where the iron is hot, and he's going in with this one in a big field of play, trying to hope for the best. Lorenzo, though, dealing with Christopher M. Hill right in front of him here as the caution flags back on out. Boyd Hagen has crashed it on turn 4. Wait just a minute. Whoa. And that is, okay, I'm not really sure what happened there. We do know there was a bit of a 3-wide tandem there for a minute, kind of crossing the crossfire. Boy, Janthic, you talk about just muscling this field. He was muscling everything in his sights. And Thacker, whoa. Well, Thacker really didn't have anywhere to go, but I don't think Hagen was expecting him to come around in that area. That was a bit of a wild one there.
Yeah, Hagen just had that good run, and he was trying to get up underneath Forsyth, and he just wasn't clear, and I mean, he just threw him off. So tough break for Boyd Hagen.
Tough break indeed. Again, Hagen, though, if you remember right, he is locked already into the points in the playoffs with that race win, as you said earlier. Win and you're in. But again, do you really think for 1 second these guys are just going to be satisfied with one win? There is a reason why
No.
Kyle Larson went and did 10 last season.
Yeah, I mean, you only think you only need one win. I mean, which you do to get into the playoffs. But I mean, like myself and you too. I mean, when you go into a league race, you're expecting to try to win that race or get an extra win.
If I said it once, I always will say it over and over again. Just because I get locked into one thing doesn't mean I don't want to go out there and literally just play catch up with everybody. I gotta go head to head for everything and try to make the biggest difference and the money making out of it all.
Because confidence goes a long way in the playoffs too. Because if you sit there and win like the first 2 races or something like that, and then you don't win the whole rest of the season, it can throw you off going into the playoffs too.
You know, I don't think it's just confidence though. I think a bigger part of it is momentum. The momentum you carry through from each race helps kind of drive your factors. I mean, I've talked about this before, and I know I've brought this up quite a bit, but when I got my season championship in NASCAR Heat 4, the only season championship I ever got from really racing in that, I had won, up to that point, 5 of the 12 races we had that season up to the championship round. I had all the confidence in the world of my crew and my team to get that thing into victory lane, and that was pretty much what locked me in to actually get this thing into that top honors, that top run. It's a bit wild to say, but the momentum really does factor and makes the biggest difference, in my humble opinion. So one more time around here, looks like we're going to keep it under caution. 23 remain laps wise. There'll be a 22 to go as long as we do keep everyone under control. And speaking of under control, I think we might have a madman in the 9 here coming up, because he is now rocking and rolling up to the front. Eli Childs 14 spots up, and Jason Taylor 17 spots up, by the way.
Jason Taylor with that little bit of damage sitting in the top 5. I mean, he could have a shot at winning this too.
It's anybody's guess. It's anybody's ball game. It just really depends on who wants it more. And we've seen here before where the best and the brightest will give it all they've got if it means trying to take home the top honors as our drivers come around here from the yellow flag. And it's now 1 to go, and Christopher M. Hill is the last remaining driver here out of the Team BSM crew. So if Team BSM wants to continue to be undefeated in this race season, they're going to need to be top dogs here, because they've got a murderer's row of guys that would love to finally knock them off their little pedestal they created. I don't know. I think with this field, though, I think I'm going to have to go with Robert Lawrence as my pick to win this one. What about you, McRae?
I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm going to stick with the man, the Willie Man Jr., to see what he's going to do. Oh, Christopher Hill got loose on the restart as they go back green flag racing.
Literally, what did I just say a second ago? Here comes the 34. He just sneaks right by M. Hill. And M. Hill, I guarantee you right now, is probably a little more fuming behind that car. He's going to be more fuming now, though. Trouble on the back straightaway for the 99. Whoa. And do you recall earlier when we talked about when M. Hill went into pit road, he only took 2 tires? Well, he did get an extra set on that car, but I don't think they warmed up enough. And the 99, oh, you can tell he's not happy. He is not a happy camper. That's a speeding penalty if it wasn't kind of obvious enough, but I don't think really he gives 2 hearts or 2 hoots about it. I think he's done. Let's take a look at the replay, but what a shocker. I was honestly, when I said Robert Lawrence was my pick to win it, I was basing off the strategy he's been using as of late and really what he's been doing. I did not base it off this move right here.
Yeah, I mean, he done pretty good going into the turn. I know he lost positions on the restart, but he went into the turn, and I guess it kind of frustrated him a little bit, and he tried to get back into the gas, trying to gain some position, and he just got loose coming out of 2.
Got the 53 of Wilcox. Forsythe got clipped. The 55 of Harris got a piece. Oh man, oh man, oh man. That is crazy, my friends. That is not something you see veteran drivers do. But this car, as we mentioned before, and we've even said in the IROC series, it is the most equalizing car on the racing world, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you rarely see like the top drivers like this, top 5. I mean, they've been having a tough break here this race.
Well, now at this point, this is turning into a slobber knocker of just proportions of trying to hold down anything you got left under your hood. It's not even a matter of trying to win the race. It's just a matter of trying to survive.
Well, we was asking each other if the damage of Robert Lawrence and 34 with that little bit of damage. I mean, look at him now. He's on the front row right now in the 2nd position.
And if you're wondering what kind of damage we're talking about here, here's a look at that left side, on the right front side, any damage there that he suffered earlier on. I'm not really sure where that came from or who gave it to him, but hey, it's still holding up at least, and it's still keeping him under control. But now the downside is his teammate Craig Jantic is now back in the fray, and you know as well as anything, if Jantic is going to get a chance to make playoffs, oh, you know as well as anything, he will take that with a wholehearted hammer and probably throw a little pinch of salt on that open wound of somebody's.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close race right here at the end. We got 17 to go as of right now. I mean, Craig Jantic, he's been fast all race, went back to the back, worked his way back up, fell back a little bit more, and now he's sitting in 4th right now. So he's gonna be to the inside, and we might see some changes here in the next couple of laps with him leading again.
This is anybody's guess. This is anybody's choice here. It's all about who can outplay, outsmart, and outrun the other.
I ain't saying no names, but we just talked about it, and that's my pick. I ain't gonna curse him, but that's who I'm picking.
The field is ready. And we are ready to get back to the action. 16 laps to go. Right now, if you're Robert Lawrence, your first priority is number 1, don't do what Christopher M. Hill did and literally get too hard on the throttle. Do not spin those tires. Watch the rhythm, watch the throttle control, and let the car come to you. Off of corner number 4. On back down to the green flag restart zone. We're back underway. And they're 3 wide yet again here. Boyd Hagen, oh boy, watch out for this guy. He's coming for all of them. And Jantic is right behind all of them with this, well, with nasty intentions in mind. But it's Robert Lawrence now. Side by side, fenders put together. Side by side, they take it with Lorenzo. And just like that, things get changed in a heartbeat. 3 wide off of turn number 2 with Craig. They are in a heap dash for this one.
Yeah, Craig Jantic, I mean, he ain't playing no games. He's going to get to the front because Boyd Hagen's coming, so he's going to try to get up to the front and get this lead and try to put the gap on him.
Lorenzo is desperate to block the run, though. Jantic doesn't want him to get it from him that easily with 14 to go. Now becomes a time strategy appointment here. Problems, though, for the 15. It's Taylor. Taylor able to at least recorrect it, center it off, back on the back straightaway. He'll keep it green, but Boyd Hagen, well, right about now, I hate to be anybody that's up front right now, as Mr. T say, I pity the fool that deal with me out here.
Yeah, we seen what Boyd done to Jantic earlier. We might see the payback of Jantic to Boyd Hagen.
Or Lorenzo might end up feeling a bit of what Jantic's up to here, but he gets a piece there coming off of corner number 3 into 4, side by side, half a tire length separated those two out. Lorenzo holds the lead.
Now that's what you call good driving right there.
Good driving, controlled expertise! Whoa! And everything, not only on his mic in there for McRae went out, but I think our voices got a little shot up there. Lorenzo and Janzik in a heated battle of warfare end up getting themselves into a bit of a bad rut. Jason Taylor did wreck out. We'll take a look at why that caution came out on his end, but we'll see to it what happened on the other end. This, my friends, is pure chaotic. That is all I am going to say. But here's what happened to that 15 Jason Taylor. In turn 1, yet again, it collects another driver, and Taylor is the one that falls victim to it. Janzik, though, how he was able to get out of trouble there. You may have caught like the rear end of that one, but here's what the actual cliff looks like. Hagen makes a really weird little mistake, and Lorenzo, I'm not really sure if that was I'm not sure if Lorenzo is really trying to do a Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. a la 08 style Richmond on Janzik or what, but Janzik, boy, good driving on his end. May have looked like Lorenzo, to be honest and not being funny here, actually did look very loose off that corner, and that steering wheel snapped right at him, as we've seen time and time again. And I got chills right now here, McRae. This is just all over the place.
Yeah, you see Boyd Hagen getting in, and then next thing you know, they're going down in the turn, and Janzik dive bombs, and Brian didn't have nowhere to go, but luckily he kept it straight and got a little bit of damage, but it shouldn't be too bad.
Shouldn't be too bad. And right now, Stephen Pless, Eli Childs, and William Mann Jr. really the sixth place and up. Lily maybe looking at taking down Lawrence, Lorenzo, and Janzik here. And Childs, of all things, you heard him say earlier today, this is his favorite track. He loves racing on, and I found that out the hard way. I've had a showdown with this boy here on this track. He does not play easy to beat. He will take you to the line, to the wire. That is for certain. But I'm just going to say this right now. I think I told him, I think we said to him even earlier, if this is your favorite track, eventually over time, maybe you might be able to start figuring out. I think, honestly, our predictions just keep coming true today because he is getting it figured out. He's literally, with only 8 laps to go, in 4th. He's got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we caught him on a little bit of the radio when we was talking to the other ones earlier, and you could hear him in the background say, I'm just going to sit back here and wait it out. Well, he's waited it out with 7 to go, and he's in 4th right now with a chance to win. So strategy's playing out in the right way for him.
This is absolutely chaotic, incitement, and crazy to believe, race fans, but we're coming one step closer to the end of this big race ordeal, this big battle of proportions. Every single one of these drivers have put their cars, their bodies on the line, and their drives on the line just to make this big moment count. And again, if you're Craig Janzik right now, you've got a chance to finally lock up what you've been wanting for so long, and you don't have to worry about anybody in Team BSM, because right now the closest one, well, let's just say he's back at 15, and that's Kevin Kirscher. Hagen's right behind him at 16, but M. Hill and Kyle Myers are both out, so this will go, unless something absolutely extraordinary happens. One of those other 3 teams, Team Ovalson Performance, 3Y Motorsports, or Team Dump and Run, is going to take the win here at Richmond.
Yeah, Boyd Hagen, after that wreck, he went back to 16th, but with 5, 6 to go, I mean, the way he's been charging it to the front, we might see him again.
We might indeed. We do not know. We're about to find out. Green flag is back on out. Will, keep an eye on your top 5.
Eli Child moved up to 2nd. We got Spin in the back.
Spin in the back. George Young and Boyd Hagen. Whoa, 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 whoa! What? I don't know what George Young just did, but he was trying to drive it like a monster truck on a 2-wheel skills challenge, but that boy literally just did something I don't think I've ever seen on PT versus TV. Let's just take a look at the replay, but it looks like this one got a little wild. It's green-white checker territory now. Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. Hagen looked like he was trying to push some drivers out of the way. It looked like he got a little clip there on George Young, but then it was Forsyth that may have stood up there down for his NPR crew member. Unfortunately, he forgot that his other NPR guy was above him there. And then this is what George did. He puts it on 2 wheels.
He was trying to two-step it.
I don't even know you can dubstep it on this kind of track, but apparently you can dance with a vehicle like that. But again, Hagen, he knew what he was up to. He watch careful on this restart. He backed off, waited for the start. He was going. He had to go. And again, you can't blame him either. You have to make moves, and you've got to do stuff like this if you want to survive and conquer. But the problem is, it's just this race today, to me, it's just not there anymore for Hagen. The car is just too much beaten and battered, and it's kind of been put into a bad spot, unfortunately. And that is a tough break there for him and the crew.
Yeah, talking about bad spots, but we're going to talk about a good spot. Eli Childs is taking over second, so I think third. My bad. Third, so he's going to be on that inside, so we might see him charge up to the front and maybe win this thing.
Well, might want to go double check that now. He's in second place, so Janzik might have some company in a minute, but let's take a look at the pit lane stops here. And right now, Child's last one was on lap 70. Janzik was on lap 97, so I'm not going to try and sell Eli short, but unless Janzik burns some tires up going up to the front, I think Janzik might have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, my leaderboard's showing a little bit off because it's showing Boyd Hagen in first place right now, so.
Don't worry about that. I saw that too, but thankfully he is, it's all corrected on my live time again here, so.
There we go. Now it's fixed.
Fixed and ready to go. Now, race fans, these are overtime runs here. Now we are under a green-white checkered scenario. Now, McRae, how many green-white checkers have we got on this one?
We got 3 of them. No, 2 of them. My bad. 2 green-white checkers.
2 green-white checkers. So what happens then on the first one? If they can't get the first one in, we will then go to 1 more green-white checkered. If they don't get it to the white flag and finish it out, you know what happens next, McRae?
The race is over.
The race is over. And looking at right now, 2 guys that wouldn't mind seeing the race end when they're in the race lead, I would say, is going to definitely be that number 69 of Stephen Fless and that 29 of William Mann Jr. But I know I'm really not trying to jinx either one of those guys, because obviously they're still looking for that first win either ever of their career or really ever with the Cup Series. But I mean, right now, if you're one of those guys, you might not hesitate to try to push this one around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't be scared. Well, I wouldn't like intentionally wreck somebody, but I wouldn't be scared to use that bumper with this green-white checkered.
Well, you know, William Mann Jr. has no problem using any bumper around here, so this might be his playing field, his advantage. We're going to bring him down that back straightaway, though. This field is set in motion, and the drivers are prepared and ready to go. Which one wants it more? Off of turn number 4, we'll fire him down. Once again, it's time to bring the green back alive. And wait just a minute, where the heck did that 35 of Tyler Meeks come from? He sneaks the whole shot right in the middle, sneaks his way in, he's coming from the field. And Jason Taylor wrecking down off turn 2. That will set up 1 more green-white checker, but Tyler Meeks literally just sent a message from the back to the front. I'm coming for you, boys.
Yeah, he said he was going to wait till about the end to come up to the front, and he's making a statement right now.
The reigning defending Truck Series champion is looking to try and hammer down the field and hammer down the track. And here's what happened. Thacker got loose. You saw Kevin Kershaw also getting loose off in turn number 1. They have to drive these things in as hard as they can at this point. They have no choice, but sadly for the 15, it looked like maybe just a little too close for comfort for one in John Thacker. You can see a good look at that camera there, the 71, and then a good look at what Thacker did to that Ford Performance F1 Ford Mustang here from Jason Taylor. Last green, white, checkered. So 2 to go for Cameron Prater, just to let you know. And no, we are not talking to any of the drivers until we get this race finished up. That's kind of our rule of thumb here in this case.
Yeah, with it being too close to the end, and we don't really want to jinx nobody right here at the end either, as if we've had enough cautions up front too, so.
This is going to get wild. Last green, white, checkered attempt. If they can't get this one in, it's game over. And honestly, like I said a minute ago, I am half stunned and half dumbfounded that Tyler Meeks found a last leg, found a little bit of speed. I didn't even realize where he came from. I forgot all about him. And the thing is, his last pit stop, well, his trip was, judging by my counter here, it was on lap 110. Uh-oh. You know what that means, McRae.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more fresher tires than everybody else does.
And he's got a little bit more fuel too, so meaning he can pretty much start to just go whole hog on these boys if he wants to. Will he get the chance though? Because remember, this is the last green, white, checker attempt. If they mess this up and don't get to the white flag, it's over. It's done. So.
Yeah, Eli Child started second on that restart, which he lost his position, so he's going to be back behind the leader this time, I think. So maybe he can get that outside running and try to go around Janzik.
You know, though, if I'm Childs right now, that's probably the best case scenario. I want to be on the outside. I don't want to be in the inside because when Janzik goes, I could kind of time my spot with Lawrence. If Lawrence, I mean, granted, I'm not saying anything, but again, I said earlier, they're really, when you're in this teammate format situation, you don't really want to have too much of teammates working together because you may end up causing more trouble than you will be good or harm for each other. It's all individual sport racing for sure. And right now, if I'm Lawrence, maybe if I give this one to Janzik, then he probably wants to be owed one down the road. But if I'm him, I would not hold back. I would make Janzik work for this, and whatever happens, it happens. It's not a matter of one getting the better of the other. It's a matter of proving a point to the field and to the drivers. This is it. Last restart, McRae.
Yeah, last restart. Hopefully they keep it clean. We can go to the line and see who's got the fastest car to win this thing. So we shall see.
Well, crown a new race winner, a new team winner, and a new winner of the season will be crowned for sure now. We now know this. But coming off the ledges of turn number 3 into turn number 4, one last time by. Green flag in the air. Let them run. And Childs is going to go for it all. He went to the bottom there on Lawrence. He couldn't quite get it to stick here. Lawrence a little bit loose. Everyone stays clean. Still good. Still good. Can they get to the white flag? Yes, they can. White flag is out. And Janzik is going to be the front runner. Janzik just needs one more good lap around the track here. He's got 2 turns down. He just needs one more. Trouble down there for Christian Wilcox as the field works their way in to the checkered flag. Craig Janzik is going to the playoffs, and a big victory for him and his team as Lawrence goes second and Lorenzo takes a third as they wreck right in front here on the front straightaway. Wowzer, and what's that other word? Oh yeah, wow. Craig Janzik, the number 40, and yet again, how about this? In double days, we see a Mad Design go into victory lane. The Mothers Against Drunk Driving won, of Brad Patton last night won, and this one for the 40, same look, just a different little color scheme palette to it. And Janzik runs the gauntlet and wins it for his team, and also punches his ticket to the playoffs. absolutely crazy, though, to say the least, my friend. There's only but one last thing of business we need to attend to before we talk to the top 3, and I think you know it. We pull it up now. We'll go ahead and look at it here. Your winner today, Craig Janzik, wins this one out. Robert Lawrence goes second. Third, Ryan Lorenzo. Fourth, to Eli Childs. Fifth, to Tyler Meeks. Sixth, to Stephen Fless. Seventh, to Dan Starner. Eighth, to William Mann Jr. Ninth, to Kyle Holden. And 10th, to Steve Clegg. McRae?
We got Brad Thacker finishing 11th, Kevin Couture at 12th, Matthew Johnson 13th, Richard Forshell at 14th, Jason Taylor 15th, Christian Wilcox 16th, Kevin Ward 17th, George E. Young 18th, Caleb Forsyth 19th, Boyd Hagen, tough break for him, finishing 20th, James Harris 21st, Sheldon Pearson 22nd, Christopher M. Hill 23rd, Kyle Myers 24th, and that rounds out your field.
Top 3 now join us in here from this field, and Brian Lorenzo in the 77 will have a field day and a half with this one. Lorenzo, congratulations on this one. I know we did not have time to bring you in from the pre-race, but maybe better off that we didn't, because it seemed like the broadcaster curse got a few of these guys, but you, my friend, held on and felt strong-armed this one all the way from the get-go to hang on for an absolute performance and a half here.
Yeah, man, it was a hell of a race. I didn't feel that confident heading in. I've never felt that confident heading into these type of short track races, but I felt like I really had pace. I had a top 5 last year here, and I feel like I had one of the best long run cars all day. Just got unlucky at the end. I believe Craig was on 20 lap pressure tires at that point, and we just slipped at the end there.
It did slip a little, but I mean, at the end of the day, really wasn't much else you could do. Again, these guys were running on fresher tires, like you said. They were also running on a little bit of a kind of a bit of an edge walk, if you will, when it came to dealing with cautions and finding the right times to strike. But you did seem to kind of hang with the normal routine of actually sticking to the strategy and coming through with it. How well did it all play out for you when you were able to hold out for the final laps?
Yeah, man, with how the races have gone and how long I've been in this league, I've just noticed that there's always going to be a caution on a green flag run, especially at a short track. So I was just committed to staying out here, and I went 80 laps. And yeah, I was coming down the lap that the caution came out, and I'm just so happy the caution came out there, because if I pitted, I would have lost like 10 spots.
For sure there, but nevertheless, though, not losing any of those spots and coming away third out of it all. Lorenzo, you had some family and friends watching you today, my friend. Who do you want to thank here?
Gotta thank the family as usual, always supporting me from the beginning. Gotta thank K-Nugs Paint Shop. Put them on the car for this week. This is one of James' favorite tracks, so you go visit them. They make some really bad paints, really awesome paints. Got to thank all the other sponsors like Jennifer Tarrant, Readings, Team Trees, Team Seas, and thank you to the broadcasting group for this broadcast.
Absolutely, Lorenzo. Congratulations on this one. Representing for 3Y Motorsports, coming away with the top 3. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. See ya.
See you indeed. Lorenzo, ladies and gentlemen, the 77 comes away with third place. We'll take it down now to the elite of them all here today anyway for Ovalson Performance. Robert Lawrence in the 34 will come away second. And Lawrence, congratulations on that second place finish. And I'm not throwing a broadcaster curse at anybody, but I did choose you to win this one. I guess I came up 1 point short on that one.
Yeah, you just had to throw that curse on me right towards the end.
It really wasn't much of a curse, at least. At least it was only second.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have worked out. It would have worked out if there wasn't that big wreck towards the end that got the new tires up close. It would have. I think I would have had it. However, it didn't fall that way, so I'm just happy to be in the top 3 and finish where I did.
It certainly was a fight for survival, fight for the end here. I know you had a lot. I know you had a bit of crazy, hectic positions in there and a little bit of a longer run than most of these guys did. But as you mentioned before, if that long run did kind of come into play, do you think this one was going to be the top gun and the one to beat today?
I think so. Towards the end of that really long run, we were starting to catch those Reaper boys up front. It really seemed like it was going to swing our way, but then pit stops started coming into play, and it's like, well, our team kind of thought together like, well, do we need a pit, because if we don't, it's going to get too late and they're going to leapfrog us in tires, and it was just just kind of a wrench in the overall length of the run, but at the same time, it turned out fine.
It turned out fine, all right, indeed. Second place today. So who do you want to thank you for it all?
Well, I gotta thank my business L&L Repair for being on the car. We gotta thank Mr. Christian Wilcox for the awesome paint over there at Juicy's Paints. I also gotta thank Elite Performance for the great setups and just being a part of their group. Great people to be a part. If you need setups, go check them out. And yeah, I can't thank those guys enough. They're a big part of this.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, Lawrence, a big win here for Team Olson Performance, but a big spot here for you in second here on the crew. Congratulations at Richmond.
Yep, thank you.
The 34, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Lawrence, one spot short, only to his teammate today anyway, Craig Janzik. And with this win locking you into the playoffs, I have a feeling, Janzik, as you came out of that car, you were just happy enough to really outsmart and outplay some of these guys after the madness that was the start of this race.
Just the madness that was the start, the middle, every part of this race was just pure insanity. But we found our way in victory lane, man, and it's a huge weight off of the shoulders, knowing that we can kind of have a little bit more, take a little bit more risk, I guess, with the rest of the races. And honestly, I took a huge risk with this race strategy the way it was, being able to grab those tires earlier than the whole field. And being able to make some really smart and tactical moves on restarts to gain at least 5 laps pretty immediately, 5 laps, at least 5 positions pretty immediately on those green flag laps. And we came away with the win. I hate that a lot of the otherwise front runners were caught up in incidents. I know Boyd. I saw Boyd get turned in the mirror and he never made it back. I know. I came through the field there with Robbie for a little while, and I'm glad he got to P2. I'm really happy for that. A great team effort. So amazing to get a win for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Jess, I hope you're watching. Eli, obviously, I know, cause it's so close to their hearts, and it makes me so happy to be able to do that for them. And I feel like the race was super entertaining. I've never wrecked, I think, twice in any race at all. And now that I've wrecked twice in a race and won said race, I feel like I need to wreck twice in every race now, and we'll just see how that goes for the bottom line. But yeah, man, I'm super excited.
The bottom line, indeed, but I don't think you want to be wrecking too many times else now. But I mean, at least the good news
Thanks for that sound advice, man. I really appreciate that.
But at least with the win here, this will get you in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, that will kind of help justify everything race-wise you do from here on out till the playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it makes you it gets you a little bit more excited to come every week. Honestly, it shows that we put in the work and understood the car just as good as the competition, and I'm really excited, and I think our team's result was really amazing as well to show that we all are pretty on top of it. Yeah, man, it was a great night all the way around.
Absolutely, indeed. As the momentum starts to spew your way, who do you want to thank here for this one?
Yeah, got to thank you guys, of course, for the amazing broadcast. I can't wait to go back and watch this one. Of course, just like the rest of them, Champion Power Equipment, Amazing League sponsorship, Green Mountain Grills, BSN, Kevin, all that they do. I love having some of the heavy hitters out here, Boyd, Kyle, Christopher, all showing up just about every week and giving us a great fight. Thanks to Mothers Against Drunk Driving again for being on the car. Freeburn Hot Wings Show, Elite Performance Industries, my whole team, Olson Performance. I'm so happy for the momentum we're building here, man. I can't wait to get to dirt and have even more fun. That's just going to be a blast.
For sure there. Well, Janzik, time is coming up soon, and it will be a matter of time. But for now, you enjoy this time with a trip to Victory Lane. Been a while since seen you here, so have a time out here, man. Congratulations.
You know I will. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the race winner, Richmond, Craig Janzik, coming away here with the W. All right, well, let's go ahead and look at this real quick here, my friend, Mr. McRae, because we just had watched madness, chaos, excitement, all forms, different types. Looking at our roster here, though, this lineup, this is a complete, in my opinion, 180 to what we usually see from these guys here when it comes to positionings and top spots. We're seeing a lot more guys that were in the back of the packs from Daytona, from Atlanta, Las Vegas. This is a different story here, in my opinion, and this really kind of encompasses really what short tracks can do at the same time what this next gen is bringing to the table for these guys.
Yeah, these short tracks is getting the best of them too, because I mean, like there's a lot of drivers saying throttle control, braking, power going into the turns, out of the turns, stuff like that. So it's been a real challenge for them, and it's going to be a tough race next week too, as they go to Bristol on dirt. So we shall see how that's going to work out.
Bristol on dirt and madness all around. You know how I am with Bristol dirt. I don't think anyone needs to know that. So I'm already having a very good idea and a very good hunch that this could be chaos in so many regards. But if they can put the bumpers together and they can put the side-by-side connections in and let them race harder and better than ever, I say, you know what, shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. Let's see what the heck happens at Bristol dirt track. But again, though, that will be all in due time, race fans. And really, McRae, any final thoughts about this one? Because really, my final thoughts are this. This was a short track, and it was kind of a 180 of, if you will, what we saw with Hamlin and Harvick coming from the line to the end, with this one being more of a kind of hope out to the end, and that was the best way you're going to win.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of top drivers go to the back with wrecks and stuff like that. And like I said, every week expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen, and at the end of the day, that sometimes can be a good thing, and sometimes can be a wild thing. But you know what? I'd say it was worth the execution. It was worth the time and pleasure. So, race fans, from us here at P10 Racing TV, a very big thank you for joining us. A very big thank you to our friends at Champion Power Equipment for supporting the show. Again, thank you to them. Be sure to check out all their products on www.championpowerequipment.com. This will all but do it here for Richmond. It's been fun, you guys, but we're going to leave it here. So for now, please be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. We love you all. See you next time when the green flag flies.